domination, one spot at the top, at the top, at the top. Domination, one spot at the top, at the top, at the top. Domination, one spot at the top, at the top, at the top. Domination, one spot at the top, at the top, at the top.
Hello everyone, welcome to Facebook Live with me, Chris Johnson, and I'm super happy to have you guys with us. Today's episode is going to be a good one because we are going to answer all the questions, hopefully all the questions that you guys have about the current situation that we're experiencing here in the bodybuilding world in Canada. And basically what we've got launching in 2018 is a brand new federation called the CPA. So we've got the current federation, the Cbbf, and there's going to be a new one next year. So remember guys, this comes into effect in 2018, but we're already experiencing a lot of the hype, a lot of the hoopla, and a lot of the worries and concerns and all that sort of thing that come along with any sort of change. And this one is a major change. It's a major split. So welcome everybody, and the idea here is to take an unbiased view of what's happening, what's going to be happening in 2018, and hopefully explain it to you guys in a way that makes total sense. I know there's been a lot of videos on this topic, a lot of good videos explaining what's going on, but it still seems like maybe people still have a lot of questions, and not maybe, actually, I know lots of people have a lot of questions because I've been asked a lot of questions, and I know a number of other people have been too. So I'll explain my position, or tell you guys my position first, so that you know that I'm kind of like the perfect unbiased person to kind of deliver this information to you guys, because I am part of the IFBB Pro League. I'm also a board member on the NSABBA. So those are two kind of conflicting positions here, not in 2017, but come 2018, they will be. So, so right now in 2017, what I'm giving you guys is the unbiased view. I'm also co-promoting a show with Adam Allenbach, April 7th, the Naturals Classic, the first natural show in Nova Scotia. So we're really excited about that. Check it out at naturalsclassic.com. So I'd like to just say first a quick shout out to everyone that came by the booth this weekend in Fredericton, New Brunswick. It was the New Brunswick Provincial Show. It was a great show. We had a great time. Thanks to everyone that came out, tried the new stevia sweetened GB3 green apple and the new Warfare Citrus Slam. Like I said, both stevia sweetened, and the reviews and the feedback was amazing. So go to your nearest supplement store and check that out. Everyone's going to have it. You can also look for more information at agarmy.com. So basically, here we go. We're going to talk about the show. If you have questions as we go along, feel free and ask. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to your questions right off the bat. I will go through and look at the questions as time permits, and I will answer them. If I don't answer them live on the video show, I will do my best to answer them afterwards. And feel free as well, if you're watching this in replay, feel free to ask questions as well. Maybe tag me and I'll answer your questions too. So basically I made up this little graphic, which I think kind of in a nutshell explains kind of what's going on right now and the kind of feeling that I sense, which is kind of a division between the CPA and the Cbbf. And I've made a point to put a peace sign in there, a very big peace sign, because if you guys get nothing else out of this video, I think it's important to kind of step back sometimes from things and realize that we've kind of advanced as human beings, but we still have this caveman part of our brains, which loves to be part of something. And the reason why it wants to be part of something is for security, right? And we feel like that we're part of a tribe and that we'll be safe if we pick a side and we stick with it and maybe even hate the other tribes a little bit. And this is something that's stuck around in our modern society as well. We have everything from divisions in sports teams right up to divisions in countries and religions, etc. And it's really kind of silly. So I'd like you to keep that in mind, that as we go along and as I explain this new division that's kind of taken place, it's not a matter of us versus them. It's something that we can all work together and remember that we're all human beings, that we can all work together on anything, because we're all exactly the same. We all come from the same place, and there's no need for any sort of silliness that often goes on whenever there's some sort of division or break. And this is a division that's kind of out of our power as athletes, because this happened at the highest levels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to you how things work right now in 2017, and then what's going to be happening in 2018. So currently, and this is going to be mostly, I don't know if anyone's watching from the States or anything, but this is pretty much in reference to the Cbbf, and more specifically, even probably more the NSABBA, because a lot of people that are watching this are from Nova Scotia and are wondering how this is going to affect them. But if you're watching from outside of Nova Scotia, for sure, this might still be a very valuable information session for you, because it will explain everything from the top down. So currently, the way the Cbbf works, well, let me actually go beyond that just a little bit. At the very top level, currently the IFBB Pro League is the current professional bodybuilding kind of association or federation. And that is what we've all kind of, and when we go into these competitions and things, if our goal is to progress and eventually become pro, that's where we've always gone to, is the IFBB Pro League. And the IFBB Pro League is owned by one individual who also owns the NPC. And the NPC doesn't affect us much. The NPC is a United States federation, and that's basically what's in existence to help athletes advance and then become pro. So currently in the Cbbf, we have our regional shows, which qualifies for the national shows, and then we turn IFBB Pro League. Now the Cbbf is part of the IFBB Amateur League. And this is where it kind of gets a little bit confusing, because we have IFBB used not twice, but we actually have it now used 3 times in 2018. We'll have IFBB. So we'll have IFBB Pro League, IFBB Amateur League, and IFBB Pro Elite. So this is why it's a little bit confusing, but I'm going to make it as clear cut as possible for you. So currently the Cbbf is part of the IFBB Amateur League, and so is much of the world actually. So everyone that has come up through the IFBB Amateur League, whether it be the Cbbf or some other federation, has always, anyone that's gone to become pro has become a professional in the IFBB Pro League. Now something happened between the IFBB Pro League and the IFBB Amateur League where they decided to split. And so now what's happened is, of course, whenever there's a split, there's an opportunity perhaps for other people to create new federations. So this is exactly what's happened. So in Canada, the IFBB or the NPC IFBB Pro League has appointed a new federation called the CPA, or Canadian Physique Alliance. So now there is kind of competition for the Cbbf. And now people that turn professional in any IFBB Amateur League show, including the Cbbf, now earn a pro card in the new IFBB Pro Elite Federation. So hopefully you can see now how that all works. Feel free to ask a question as I go along if something doesn't kind of make sense. So we've got the in the United States, we have the MPC leading to the IFBB Pro League, and we have the CPA, the new division, which launches in 2018, which also leads to the IFBB Pro League. And in 2018, the CBBF will no longer be sending pros to the IFBB Pro League. It'll be sending pros to the IFBB Pro Elite Federation. So that's at the very top level of, if you make it, if you excel in what you do and you make it all the way to the top, then you have the opportunity to become an IFBB Pro in either the IFBB Pro League or the IFBB Elite League, depending on which route you decide to take. Now, as an amateur, at the amateur level, does it really matter at this point which you choose to compete in, the CPA or the CBBF? And the answer is, at this point at least, no, it doesn't matter too much. As an amateur, you actually have quite the opportunity, at least in 2018. We don't have a crystal ball to foresee what's going to happen in the future, whether the CPA or the CBBF is going to say amateur athletes can only compete in one or the other. But at the moment, at least for 2018, you're going to have the opportunity to compete in both. And as a former amateur athlete, I think that's a pretty cool thing, because you can do whatever shows fit your schedule and fit your desired outcome. And I would probably, if anyone was asking my advice, which I know I'm supposed to remain unbiased, but I think giving advice is probably can be considered unbiased. I would look at doing as many shows as fits your lifestyle, as fits your desire, as fits your your health, and etc. So take a look at all the new shows and things. They are being announced now, as a matter of fact. A lot of the shows are coming up and being announced in different provinces. And there's new promoters as well. So this is an opportunity for promoters to come in and do new shows. But mostly I want to look at this this particular video from the point of the athlete. And as an athlete, I think it's a great opportunity. And like I said, at least how it's set up now for 2018, I think it's fantastic. I really hope it stays this way. I hope that the two federations allow athletes to compete in both federations without any sort of issue. Because I know in the past we've had things where if you competed in another federation, you were either suspended or fined or something like that. And I don't really personally, I guess once again a little bit unbiased maybe I'm just giving my opinion on that. I don't think it's really a fair thing to do. I can understand it perhaps when you turn pro, perhaps, especially if you're getting paid as a pro, then it makes the most amount of sense. If you're not getting paid, maybe not so much, but when you reach a level and you're getting paid, to pick one or the other is probably fair. But as an amateur, personally, I don't think that you should have to do that. So let's look a little bit now at some of the differences between the CPA and CBBF. Now, if I've got any of my facts incorrect, which I guess makes them not facts, then please feel free to speak up. I've done my best to present only facts, and these are not biased facts at all. This is just information, and I'm going to go through and explain them. But like I said, if I've made a mistake, my apologies, my sincere apologies, because this is not the point. The point is to just give facts and try to clarify everything that's kind of going on. All right. So the first little thing there is the CPA is associated with the MPC and the IFBB Pro League. The CBBF remains associated with the IFBB Amateur League and the new IFBB Pro Elite. All right. In the CPA, there's some little differences because one is set up quite a bit different than the other. In the CPA, there's appointed positions. So the president of the CPA was actually appointed by the owner or president of the NBC and IFBB Pro League. In the CBBF, there's elected positions. So the AGM will elect people for positions. For me and the NSABBA, I was actually elected by members to represent them. So that's a big difference and something something you can either consider or just be aware of. I think all this stuff is just actually meant for you to be aware of and not necessarily to judge one or the other, because in a lot of cases, one's not necessarily better than the other, but these are important things to know and some important things to be aware of and to note. Next up, the CPA is a profit federation, and the CBBF is a registered non-profit organization. So once again, you may think for a moment, oh, profit, that's bad, and not profit, that's good, but that's not necessarily the case. Businesses are, profit driven, and nonprofits are supposed to be non-profit driven, but we see, examples of that, of those kind of things crossing over in weird sort of ways. So there's no, I don't think there's any sort of like super positive point of one or the other. Now, I can only speak on behalf of the NSABBA because I've been a board member for many years, and I can tell you that the NSABBA has truly been a nonprofit. We've really given back to the athletes and made a point of giving back to the athletes all the money that is accumulated through the shows that we promote. Now, as a profit organization, the CPBA promoters can still choose to give back to the athletes should they wish, but they're not so much, they don't so much have to do it because they are a profit organization. So they don't necessarily have to support their athletes, but that doesn't mean for a moment that they won't. I'm sure that there's going to be some CPA promoters that really give back a lot to their athletes and help them move on to the next level. And of course, that's what we've been doing in the CBBF for years is giving back to the athletes, helping them move on to the next level. So regional shows, which provinces are offering regional shows? Currently, Ontario. Now, of course, the president of the CPA was formerly the OPA president, the Ontario Physique Association. So he has converted everyone already to the CPA. All those shows in 2018 will be CPA shows. So Ontario at the moment has a lot of CPA shows. The New Brunswick now just yesterday announced that their shows will be CPA aligned. PEI as well will be doing that. And Nova Scotia, my friends Johnny Shreve and Greg Doucette have announced that they will be doing a show here in Halifax on May 12th, I believe, at the casino. So there's also going to be a regional show here in Halifax, Nova Scotia for Nova Scotia athletes. And CBBF, yes, so all the other provinces still have their associations intact. So they'll still be doing the regular shows leading up to the nationals. And something to keep in mind is that this stuff is all still really new. So you're going to see other promoters pop up on behalf of the CPA and other promoters pop up on behalf of the CBBF to create new associations or shows that will support one or the other. So if you think for a moment that you're in Ontario and you think, oh gosh, now I have to do nothing but CPA shows, don't be surprised. There's probably going to be a CBBF association popping up very soon. I'm sure it's in the works. I'm sure there's one in the works for New Brunswick. I'm sure there's one in the works for PEI. Just as there's a new CPA show here in Halifax already announced. So, and then, like I said, in 2018, as an amateur, you're going to be able to do whatever shows you want and progress through those streams. Another question is, does the CPA have a natural stream? Does the CPA, well, we already know the CBBF has a natural stream because we have the world qualifiers. And at the world qualifiers, you can earn a pro card. Now it will be an IFBB elite pro card. And if you place in the top, you'll have the chance to go to Worlds, which is held all over the world in different countries. It's a very exciting event. I know lots of people look forward to that. So we know, yes, the CBBF has a natural stream, and that will stay intact. And the CPA has also announced that they will have a natural show as well, and one natural nationals show. And of course, the winners of that show will get their IFBB Pro League Pro card. So there's going to be some shows for the CPA, which are going to be, I say, you can't really see there because my face is in the way, but I put in nationals, a nationals show qualify for the IFBB Pro League. And the reason why I put in quotations is because the current way that it's set up is the national shows. There's actually going to be 4 of them through the CPA. These shows, as far as I understand, currently are open into the entire world. So people can come from all over the place to compete against our best national athletes for IFBB Pro cards. And then with the CBBF, we will send all the people that qualify from the different provinces, the best of the best, will go and do the natural shows. And of course, they'll remain the same. They'll have the same split. I think it's bodybuilding. I can't even remember what it is, but say it's bodybuilding bikini, and then men's physique, women's physique, figure, etc. in another show. So we split the shows up. Sometimes it changes. It may change again this year. Anyway, how they split up those divisions, but there'll be those 2 pro shows plus, of course, the world qualifiers, which is otherwise known as the natural nationals. So there's, like I said, 4 pro qualifiers with the CPA and 3 with CBBF. So I'll leave that up there just for a second so you guys can have a look through. I am going to look and see if there's any questions that I can answer. Let's see here. So now is the time, actually. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Hey, Steve, everything's going great. Thanks for asking. Hope you're still with me. So Steve asks, with the split, how does it affect pros? Well, I didn't really touch on that too much because there's not a whole ton of pros probably watching this, and I didn't want to make it about me. But yeah, it affects me greatly because I basically have to choose whether I stay in the IFBB Pro League or switch to the IFBB Elite. And I do have the option. I do have the option of going of switching if I want to, but probably it's a one-time decision that you have to make, and then you got to stick with it for forever, I guess. So that's how it affects the pros. It also affects me personally because as a member of the NSABBA, now with this split, I will have to choose because I can't be from what I understand, I can't be an IFBB Pro League athlete and also represent CBBF. Like I can't be on the Cbbf Federation, which the NSABBA is part of. So there are some decisions to be made for sure, and I'm not quite ready to share that with you guys just yet. But great question, and I'm sure there's a lot of pros kind of scratching their chins, wondering what to do. So Steve asks, which league do you think will carry more weight, the pro or the elite? Well, Steve, it's a hard question because the elite hasn't even began yet. I don't even know if there's. I think that maybe there's 2 IFBB Pro Elite shows announced. So it's kind of unfair to say which is going to be the strong one and which isn't. At this point, it really depends on how well it's promoted and what kind of what kind of, where the shows are going to be, what kind of prize money they're going to offer, how much they're going to get into, social media and mainstream, and really, really pushing. So at this point, it's too early to say which will become the more dominant, because we're talking about players who have been in, part of the. I mean, up until this point, if we talk about other federations, the IFBB Pro League, of course, has been the most dominant and generally regarded as the one where the top athletes go to. But now remember that now there are people who are part of that IFBB Pro League on the amateur level who have split off and started this new league. So, like I said, it's kind of hard to, or kind of too early to venture a guess into that. Scrolling. Okay, so that I'm actually super surprised there's not a whole lot of more questions. Maybe everyone understands this already, or maybe people are just scared to ask. Don't be afraid to ask your question, because there's no dumb question at all. I understand that there are a lot of questions about this split, and about what's going on, about the future, and what the future holds for competitive athletes. So feel free, please ask any question that you have, and don't worry about it too. If you've just joined us and you don't know what I've covered already, that's okay. You can ask don't worry about me having to repeat myself. It's not a big deal. This show is for you guys 100%. So I want everyone to come away from this video feeling good, and feeling like they had their questions answered. I'm wearing this cool shirt by Future Muscle. You can go to their, over here, Future Muscle. You can check out their Instagram, Future Muscle, and the shirts are real nice. Feels real good. It's nice stretchy material, so check them out when you get a chance. So here we go. So Rebecca's got a bit of a question here, so this is great. If you're already qualified with the Cbbf for nationals, are you able to still do local shows? Okay. Yes, if you're nationally qualified, Rebecca, you can still do local shows. It's only when you turn pro that you can no longer do the local shows. So absolutely, you can still do your local shows. Check with the promoters. I know that's another kind of exciting thing. I know a lot of promoters, I believe, in the CPA are going to be allowing other provinces to join their shows. But check with the individual promoter, of course, because that's kind of up to them what they do. But I'm pretty sure I saw that a couple shows are going to be allowing other members from other provinces come in and compete. So that's kind of cool. That allows you to have a few more opportunities to compete. And like I said, I think for amateur athletes, this is a fantastic thing. So so keep your eye out for those shows as they're announced. There's going to be lots of shows announced probably over the next month and a half. So keep your eye out. New shows all the time, both federations. Lots of exciting things happening. Basically to set your mind at ease, because I think a lot of people are feeling angst about it. At least that is the energy that I was feeling from a lot of people, is that angst of having to choose one or the other. And the great thing is, in 2018, you don't have to choose between one or the other. The pros, unfortunately, do have to choose, but as an amateur athlete, you don't have to choose. So just pick your shows and do them, and do the best to your ability, and see how things go. And like I said at the beginning, because I'm sure there's a lot of people viewing right now that didn't join me at the very beginning, I implore everyone who's watching to be open-minded, and to share nothing but love between the two federations. Okay, because this is not a life or death situation. It is not an us versus them situation. Okay, you don't have to take that attitude. You don't have to take that mindset, because it's not going to serve you well. It's only going to come back and cause you more stress than it deserves. So be open, be considerate, and be supportive of one another. I know whichever way that I go, personally, just speaking from a personal viewpoint, as my company, Advanced Genetics, we're going to continue to sponsor both, or we're, I guess not continue because it's new in 2018, but we're going to continue to sponsor shows, regardless of whether they're CPA or CBBF. And I'm going to encourage athletes to do both shows if that's where their heart leads them. I'm not going to try to sway anyone one way or the other. And I really, really kind of would encourage others not to kind of push people one way or the other. Just let's just do it all together. Let's be grateful for these opportunities, because they are really opportunities. That's what we can take out of this, is that there's great opportunities for the athletes to excel and to find different routes to reach whatever their dreams and whatever their goals are. So let's continue that and be positive and all that good stuff. There doesn't appear to be any other questions. So either, oh wait, I have to scroll down. Yes, Sandrella, it is. 2018 is going to be a great year for amateur athletes to be able to compete in both the CBBF and CPA and really experience, like you say, experience the differences between the two federations, and then maybe, decide if they so choose to go one way or the other. But like I said, remember, it's not a us versus them situation ever. It should never be that. Even as a pro, when I make my decision of where I'm going to go, I'm going to have nothing but respect for the people in the other pro federation, just as I have with the other federations that are in existence. It's just a different thing. That's all. So. Hey Leah, thanks for joining. And Leah has a question about judges and judging. Will it be the same judges, and will it be the same type of judging? Well, that's a fantastic question. The judging, I believe, will be a little bit different because the judging for the CPA will be the same criteria that the NPC judges on. So it's a little bit different criteria, and sometimes that's kind of where we see some issues for IFBB amateur league people or CBBF people going into the pro league. That's different, completely different posing, completely different things. The athletes are able to adjust. When you're a pro, you're good. So you're able to adjust, no problem at all. But I know a lot of amateurs will look at the pros and try to pose like the pros. And in the IFBB amateur or CBBF, that posing is not what is looked for in the CBBF. So yes, there's going to be a difference. So now the CPA will adopt that NPC type judging. So there is going to be a difference. There's probably going to be a different look possibly between the two federations, but not drastic. The posing will be different, but the looks will be similar. Very, very little difference, I think, between the two. I know, well, that's all I'm going to say for that, because I'll go off on a little rampage that makes no sense at all. So just leave it at that. As far as the actual judges, I'm not 100% sure on that, whether judges can judge between the CPA and the CBBF. I'm not sure if that ruling has come out yet. Probably has, but I haven't seen that yet. So hopefully they will allow judges to judge in both, but the judging criteria is different, so they may have to be trained in both. I suspect that would be the most fair way to do it. So we'll see. So yeah, Leah's also pointed out that there's a lot of negativity that comes with this sort of thing. So really be aware of that, and if you feel some negative feelings come up about something else, really question yourself and say, where does that negativity come from, and is it serving me well? Is it actually benefiting me? Should I actually put it out there on Facebook that this federation is better than this federation because of this or that? Is it really first off? And then secondly, what are you trying to prove? Is it something inside yourself that you're trying to get affirmation? Are you looking for other people to say, hey, yeah, you're right, you're the one that we will get behind, and all that sort of thing. So avoid the negativity. Sorry, Leah, I was reading your question. I stopped after the first comma. Debunk some of it. I've heard both versions will end up dissolving, just like it happened a few years ago, and the WBFF emerged. So what is actually, Leah, ask all your questions, please. That's what we're here for, and it's important that every question that comes up is answered. So maybe I answered your question, I'm not sure, but I'm not exactly sure what you mean by both versions will end up dissolving. Do you mean both federations will end up dissolving, or I'm not 100% sure what you mean by that question, but if you can ask it again, I'll do my best to answer it. So once again, guys, this is your chance to ask any questions. I don't have all the answers. I never pretend to have all the answers. I can only give you guys answers from my own experience and what I've learned and what I've encountered. So I'll do my best. And of course, if you're not watching this show live, or if you have a question that perhaps I can't answer, I will do my best to find the answer for you and answer in the questions. Now, if you know someone that might benefit from this video, please tag them in the video so they can check it out at a later date and share it if you're so inclined. So Pascal, hey Pascal, he has said that he's heard that the judges will not be able to cross over. He's not 100% sure, which is always a good thing to say when you're not 100% sure of something, because when you state something as fact and you turn out to be wrong, you end up looking pretty silly. So well done, Pascal, on sharing, but also admitting that you don't know if that's 100%. It does kind of make sense, though, that because it is going to be different. It is going to be a different looks, etc., different standard of judging. So it does make sense that the CPA would have their own judges and the CBBF would have their great. I see exactly what you're saying there, Leah. Now that people are probably putting it out there that that one federation is going to take over the other federation and that one's going to crush and grumble. Yes, now I understand exactly what you mean about the WBFF, because when it first came out, that's what everyone said as well, is, that's never going to last, it's going to crush it. And, I think they found their own niche, the WBFF. So this video, of course, is not about them. It's about this new split between the two pro leagues. So will the CBBF survive? Once again, no crystal ball. I have no idea. Will the CPA survive? Crystal ball is not telling me anything. So it's really early on. And I don't know if that's really what we need to concern ourselves with at this moment. Right now, both federations are coexisting. It's not even 2018 yet, so they're not even. There's nothing really until next year. But at the moment, it seems like they're coexisting okay. Now, there is a lot of animosity, it feels like to me, between, and I think it starts at the top levels. Obviously, something went terribly wrong between the IFBB Pro League and the IFBB Amateur League, where they decided to split, because everything seemed to the average person to be running quite smoothly. There were no evident problems, nothing that trickled down to us that we were able to observe and say, oh, there's trouble in paradise or whatever. I have heard that this didn't just happen at the Olympia, that it was something that was brewing for quite a while leading up to the Olympia. So no doubt some plans were already made before the Olympia weekend, and things were already put into motion. But of course, us mere mortals had no access to that information. So it took us all surprise. So will one survive over the other? Who really knows? I hope so, and I hope that the invitation for amateur athletes to compete in both federations continues to exist beyond the 2018 year. Will it? I don't know. I don't know, but my fingers are crossed that it will, and that it maybe even in some way the two federations will be able to figure out how to kind of work together and help promote one another. That's probably wishful thinking, but one can hope. So how is it different from the WBFF? Well, really, really what happened with the WBFF was just a huge amount of animosity. People saying that, just I'm not even going to repeat what people were saying, but there was a lot of negativity from both sides. People just once again trying to be part of something and really giving in to their their caveman type ways and picking a side and picking fights, and one egos getting involved, one trying to say they're better than the other, when in fact they're just different. They're just different goals, different things. Now the IFBB Pro League and the IFBB Elite League are a lot closer because of their history together and because the end result is very similar. The pros that are going to be going into the elite and the pros that are in the pro league are going to be very similar. There's no fashion show component or any of that sort of thing. So it's a very similar league. The fact that they've been together for so many years as well is really like a family kind of breaking apart. But like with all families that have little run-ins and issues, let's hope these families can somehow find a way to coexist. Sandrella asks, Canadian Cbbf nationals will only have Canadian competitors, but Canadian CPA nationals will allow any qualified CPA athlete from any country to compete. Yes, I touched on that earlier, but it's a good point to bring up again. I realize that's not a question, it's a statement. So I don't think I read it like a question, so that's good. Yes, so the CPA nationals, and that's why I put in quotations nationals, because it is the best of, or the people that have qualified for the CPA through regional events, will be competing against some of the best competitors from other countries as well. So it's actually open to it's open worldwide, as opposed to the CBBF, which is only open to Canadian residents. So that'll be really interesting to see how that plays out in Vancouver and in Toronto. And I'm not sure if the Ben Leader Legacy is doing the same thing in Canada, if they're opening that worldwide, but I'm not going to say yes or no, but it's going to be interesting to see how those shows kind of pan out with some international influence coming into them. So once again, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them now. I'm past the time that I was going to do on this, but I think it's extremely important that everyone who's watching be able to ask their questions. So I will stay on for another couple minutes and just kind of like hang out in case there's anyone just joining us. Sean just joined. Hey, Sean. Aaron, Allie. How you doing? Welcome to the show. We've covered a lot in this show, and hopefully, you're just coming in at the tail end, but hopefully you'll find it interesting enough to watch from the beginning. This live show didn't have a whole lot of dead time, so it should be somewhat enjoyable to watch in replay. So hopefully you get a chance, if it's something that of course that interests you. And of course the topic today has been, what does this split mean, the CPA and the CBBF? And once again, this is the table that I pulled up earlier that kind of highlights some of the differences between the two federations. Oh, cool, Aaron, that's awesome. Highlights some of the differences between the two. So you can take a quick look at that before we sign off. Hey Sarah, you're very welcome. Thank you very much for joining. I'm glad that it helped because that's super important to me. So that's awesome. Um, and Leah's asked a question: Does it so with the CPA shows, because there's so many different promoters? Will there be any consistency in terms of the vendors or prizes? I'm not sure what you mean by X Files. I think that was probably a autocorrect. But vendors or prizes, of course, yeah, there's not going to be much consistency probably unless all the different promoters get together and come out with some sort of consistent prize package or something between them. But I think that's been kind of inconsistent as well, even in the CBBF, what the prizes or whatever is given. I know I got this fantastic CBBF or IFBB pro ring, which I'm eternally grateful for, winning in Edmonton, and I know that. In Montreal, you actually get a ring that's twice as big, but in most of the other provinces, you don't get a ring at all. So the prizes are kind of different. And even in the amateur shows, I know there's some amateur prize, they give away trips and they give away this and that and different things. I guess it really depends on, what you collect as a promoter from the different sponsors and things. So, yeah, I don't think there'll ever be like real consistency between the prizes, unless, of course, like I said, promoters decide to unite and make it uniform throughout. But Sandrell asks, are there more competitions to obtain a pro card with the CPA then? Yeah, there's 4 versus 3. But like we said before, the CPA is open worldwide, and the CBBF is just Canadian athletes. But if you look at it as a conglomerate, it's actually 7 shows that amateur athletes have to turn pro. So whether it be pro league or pro elite, turning pro is still a huge deal and something to be extremely proud of. I don't think there's, and I hope what happens with when people turn pro in the pro elite, that there's not any sort of like looking down on them as not being part of the Olympia standard or whatever, because there's going to be a big show for the elite, the IFBB Pro Elite for sure, and the quality of athlete is going to be very, very, very high. And I wouldn't even be surprised if some of the, there's a number of IFBB pros that switch over to the IFBB Pro Elite. So you're going to have a lot of those same people that turned IFBB Pro going to the IFBB Pro Elite. It really depends on the opportunity. So, I think it's important to respect everyone that earns a pro card. Even in the other federations, it's not super simple. In any federation to turn pro, it is a big deal. It takes a lot of work and consistency and time in. So, expos. So yeah, same with the expos. I really hope that the different federations don't try to impose any power on limiting the people that are allowed to sponsor shows. I think that's really kind of crossing a line. Once again, this is my opinion. Telling people they can't promote at shows with their company, or that trainers can't train shows for the different federations, all that sort of thing, I think is hopefully something we don't see. So maybe I should just be quiet and not put that out to the universe. But I have heard mumblings of that sort of thing already, but I'm optimistic that sort of thing is not going to happen, that it's going to be an open thing. So let's hope for that. Aaron says, PEI confirmed to have switched from CBF to CPA. I believe so. Once again, I believe so enough that I put it in that file on that table that I did. I'm pretty sure that they did. Certainly, New Brunswick just announced this weekend officially that they were going to be moving, and I'm I'm quite sure. But remember, there probably will be, almost without a doubt, there will be someone popping up to promote the Cbbf in PEI. So, like I said, once again, more opportunity for amateurs. Fantastic. It's in this way, purely looking from an amateur athlete perspective, these are exciting times. It's fantastic for you guys. So be excited. Look at it as opportunities. Look at it as very exciting times. All right, and not as you have to pick teams, because at least in 2018 you won't have to pick teams. And like I said, I really, really, really hope it stays that way. Yes. So here we go. So Renee is making a comment, so I'll just read it. I don't censor much when I'm on Facebook Live. I kind of just read stuff. So it's only bit me in the butt once. Renee says, I think in the Maritimes, it'll be consistent as Heather and Tijan will be involved in working with Nova Scotia now. I guess we are waiting for PEI to announce. So my sincere apologies to Josh and Sam if I cross the line and announce something that hasn't officially been announced yet. I apologize, and if I'm completely wrong as well, I apologize. So I'm not too big to apologize for when I make a mistake. So Sandrella said, "Oh, okay. Are there going to be more athletes competing for a pro card with the CPA versus the Cbbf?" Once again, it's kind of hard to tell whether there will be more or not. Well, actually, maybe not. If we do some math, because the OPA has switched to the CPA, and that's where the majority of people live. So that's, where the majority of athletes are. I think it's safe to say that at this present moment, there will be more people competing for pro cards in the CPA, assuming, of course, that the vast majority stay, or at least compete in the CPA and don't all move. I think what's going to happen as amateurs is they might compete in both anyway, because they'll have that opportunity in 2018. So the majority of athletes, I think it's probably, the guess would be that, yeah, there'll be more athletes in the CPA just because of the province of Ontario. Yeah, or it'll be close. But of course, and then it will depend as well on that national show, how many international people actually come to compete at these shows. It could be a lot, or it could be, half a dozen. There's no way to estimate based on the knowledge that I have. Probably the people that are promoting the show have a much better idea, because they probably put it out there and they will know what their response was, whether it was high or low or whatever. So it's really hard for me to tell. Maybe I shouldn't have said that the CPA will have more based on Ontario. It may be equal. But I'm putting all those options out there, so you have just as good a guess as I do based on that information that I kind of blurred out there. So I think it's tough to say. It's tough to say. Only time will tell. But like I said, there's no sides to be taken as far as an athlete goes. So it could be the same. It could be exactly the same number. Also the times of the year for the shows are different. So it depends on the athletes, whether those national shows or pro qualifying shows will be, work for people. So it'll be super interesting, definitely, to see the size of the shows, and we'll certainly find out next year, and probably it'll set a precedent. Next year will set a precedent for which shows will be busier. So hard to tell. once again encourage athletes to just do whatever shows fit their schedule, fit their lifestyle, and give it their best. Yes, 100% Sandrilla, for sure. No matter which division at those pro qualifying shows, the competition will be top notch. Absolutely. Hey, Emery, thanks very much. Steve asks, the CPA will be pro qualifiers with no regional show required to qualify. However, the CBF will require the usual. I think from my understanding, that was the initial proposition, was that there wouldn't be any regional shows for the CPA. But I think that changed within the first week or two that the CPA was announced, that they will actually have regional shows. So I think I'm pretty confident in saying that yes, there will be regional shows for the CPA. It kind of makes sense, or else you have everyone just showing up at national shows without having to qualify at all. And look, not everyone should be doing a national show. You should test the waters first and have a show or two at a lower level before you just go running off to a pro qualifying show. So I'm pretty sure about that, but like I said, that's just what I think, and that's just what I think I've heard, and so I'm sharing that with you. That's all I can do. Yeah, once again, great opportunity for everyone to compete in these shows. Great opportunity for some new promoters. Great opportunity for trainers. Great opportunity for sponsors to get more exposure. There's all kinds of positive ways to look at this new change. So that's what I hope, above all, that you guys kind of got out of this video, was to remain positive, and as an amateur, remain calm, because everything is fine, especially for 2018. Everything is fine. Stick with your plan for the rest of 2017. Do the shows that you're doing. I mean, it's winding down. I know there's a number of shows left in Ontario. We've got the ECC coming up here in Nova Scotia. And I do want to mention too, I guess I think it's official that the NSA BBA is going to be staying with the Cbbf. So if any of you local guys and girls are wondering about that, that is something that Leah wanted me to share with you guys, so that you know that you have the confidence or knowledge or awareness that the NSA BBA is not making that conversion. Remember too, I've said it a few times, but if your association is going to be going, switching from Cbbf to CPA, there's no real worry for you in that either, because someone will be stepping in to take that place. And the same as well, if your province only offers the Cbbf Federation, rest assured someone is going to pop in and promote a CPA show. So it's just about 100% guaranteed. So I think probably that'll wrap it up. If there's any final questions, feel free to ask them now in the next minute. Otherwise, I'm going to wind things up. This is probably the longest Facebook Live that I've done, and I'm really happy for that, because it's one that I've been asked a lot about, and I know a lot of people contacted me and asked me about it. I've seen so many Facebook posts about the CPA versus the Cbbf, and hopefully I've done my job in at least presenting to you some of the facts about the divisions. I've tried to stay as unbiased as I can. I'm certainly at this point, I am unbiased, so hopefully that came through. And I know at certain points I've shared my opinion on things, and and I've also shared the things that I believe to be facts. So once again, if I did overstep, if I did, insult anybody or offend anyone, certainly that is not what I meant to do. I just wanted to help and let people get more familiar with the split that has happened and get more comfortable with the fact that as an amateur athlete, this has a lot of very positive things that go along with it. So I hope you enjoyed today's Facebook Live broadcast. If you have any questions and you don't want to make them public, you can inbox me. That's fine. And I'll do my best to answer the question for you. If it's after the fact and you want to ask a question publicly, which is great, I highly encourage it, because chances are people have the same question that you do. Just to kind of tag me and in the question, and I'll do my best to answer it as well. So thank you very much. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. And it's my goal to be back here next Monday at 1 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time and do another Facebook Live, and we'll cover some other cool topic. Thanks for joining me today. Hoorah!